So we've given the cat people enough grief. So today we're dealing with dogs, which we've got a couple of topics on dogs. And, I think most people think of, you're either on the cat side or the dog side. I don't
Coke,
know a lot
Pepsi,
of people.
Mac, PC, cat,
exactly.
Dog. Yeah.
So today we'll do a couple of posts that I found regarding dogs, which a couple are a little disturbing and a couple are kind of funny.
Right here on the Right Next Door podcast, The Dog Days. Let's hit it.
Dirty deeds, triggered tirades, busybodies, and missing cats. They say tall fences make good neighbors, but bad neighbors make the Right Next Door podcast.
So, Darren, it's the dog days of summer.
Yes.
And accordingly, we have pooches everywhere.
It's the Dog Days of the Right Next Door podcast as well.
Yes, I wish I was taking a nap, but perhaps after this recording, I can take a little slumber. So the first post that we'll talk about, which I thought was kind of disturbing, and a buddy of mine sent it to me. It's from the West Coast.
Yeah.
And some guy posts, and I will gladly read it to you verbatim, but he drops a GPS pin on a map, takes a picture of the guy's house.
No, why no, so go back. Why is he bringing attention to this house?
Well, apparently he's upset with the dog. What's curious, and I'm reading this verbatim, dog barking in my neighborhood. That's it. That's all he posts. Dog barking in my neighborhood. Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. Dog barking in my neighborhood.
Wait, Jeff,
before
we get into this, do dogs bark? Is that something that happens in the world, that they generate noise with their barking? Is that my mind is kind of blown here.
I think this must have been like some creepy dude, and the dog was probably barking at him. Would be my guess. But I mean, why? I mean, why would you do something like that?
Well, maybe
that's so ridiculous.
It's just so easy now. It's just for him to go to that. Well, you know what? He probably does that if someone. We've had an episode where someone put their dog's refuse bag in the trash can. Well, that person's going to get a pin. That person didn't wash their car for 3 days. There's weeds growing in that yard across the street. Let's just give them all a pin. Let's just show the world GPS coordinates of all these people who we don't care for today.
Yeah. Well, and that's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen people drop pins on yards before where, there's an issue with the dog barking or, kids or whatever it is. But I mean, I guess that poses the question, should people really be dropping GPS pins and taking a picture of your house and then posting them unbeknownst to the homeowner?
No.
I think if you have a problem with your dog,
back in the day, back in gangster days, you'd drop a dime on someone, and that means you'd drop a dime and report them to the feds. That's Al Capone days. But
isn't it, if you want the dog to stop barking, do you not go to the door, ring the bell, and say, "Sir, ma'am, is it possible we could bring Fido in," or whatever?
No, Jeff, because you're a coward. You're a frightened little baby coward. You want to be completely anonymous, so you want to create as much trouble for this person as possible. But heaven forfend, you actually interact with another human. You're going to get up from your D&D game and go drop a pin on this guy, and go back to your nerd fest.
Again? Go back to your nerd fest. That seems so random. And the text I got from my buddy was just classic. Because it's just, I mean, apparently these are the people in his neighborhood, and they all have issues with something.
It's not to be encouraged to use modern technology to call people out and bring other folks to their home from wherever. If you have a GPS pin, I could fly to your home from Viktor Orban's Hungary, and I could come to you from around the world and give you a hard time about your barking dog. It's really irresponsible and miserable and not neighborly.
Well, not neighborly indeed. But the flip side could be that, on the front lawn, he has all the folding lawn chairs and stuff, and people have come to just watch and hear the dog bark.
Oh,
like a local show, like some high school kids playing in a garage band.
Maybe it's a particularly skillful bark, or it barks in different Morse code patterns, or it's
it's Morse code for feed me, or stranger danger alert.
And if this dog is barking, and the anonymous aspect of it, so The guy drops a pin. He doesn't tell the neighbor. Why are all these people slowly driving by my car? It's in the middle of the summer. I don't have Christmas lights up. There's no reason for them to be looking at my car. Oh, wait a minute. So how is he going to find out? And it might be like an older person that doesn't have knowledge of GPS pins. It's just bad
people
all the way
should
around.
not be doing that. It's just not right in my opinion. But
what do you do for a barking dog, Jeff? If you have a fluffy little adorable creature, mostly indoors, but what do you do?
He's more like a house cat. He's in the house.
Yeah, yeah. He's like a house cat with pee that's not that pungent. It's really
right.
Yeah.
Like if my dog is outside barking, the first person annoyed is me.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
normally open the door and bring him in the house, and that's the end of the barking. So,
but what do you do if you have because you have your home? It's not like not like a trailer home. You're not going to like move down the street away from the barking dog. What do you do if you have a dog that's continually barking and barking and barking, and maybe you work during the day, or work during the night?
Yeah, that would be more of a nuisance. But like this dog was in a fenced yard, and as everybody that knows dogs, they're territorial. If they grow up in a fenced yard, they're 100 million years of evolution. They're trained to, guard the fenced in area.
The daughter of a friend of mine is going out of town for a while. They live in California. They're very successful people. They live in a beautiful house in California, not far from the beach, and I think right next door to some movie star. So they have this beautiful California house. And my friend said, they need someone to house sit their cat for 3 weeks. So is anybody at this table available to do that? I said, sure. I'll fly to California and live in a mansion for 10 days to take care of somebody's cat. What the hell?
That's not a bad gig.
I'm a freelance actor. I actually have connections and friends and an agent out in California that I deal with. So yeah, I'll just fly to California because your cat needs someone to be in the home with them. If I took this job, would I be required to get the little feather on a string and like play with the cat like on the hour? And I have to do that or
I think you have to feed it grapes while fanning it.
Wealthy person's cat.
Let's be honest. You're going to have the cat in the house. You're going to be floating in the pool with Tom Collins
or other people.
Just making phone calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, or other people. Wait, now is this a celebrity from television?
I believe it's a
movies?
TV celebrity. So not quite as big a celebrity, but still, I mean, there might be starlets next door that I'm going to be ogling with the binoculars I will carry for that purpose. So who knows?
I would say be cautious, though, because wasn't it Lady Gaga's
dogs?
The guy that was watching her dogs, didn't he get
Wait a minute.
ambushed
So
in
you
the street
think
and
someone
shot?
could shoot me in their house? Someone could come at
not over a cat. I think she had
French
those bulldogs.
French bulldogs are
yeah.
very, very valuable. People are stealing these dogs. They're worth thousands of dollars. My girlfriend was telling me about her hairdresser has a French bulldog, and I mean the guy wanted to charge him like a 5-figure sum for this bulldog, and the hairdresser said no, you're going to give it to me for this price because I have a lot of wealthy clientele. And as it happened, a lot of his wealthy older lady clientele have gone and gotten their own French bulldogs from this guy at a good price. But people are paying, like if you have a French bulldog that has like a rare fur color, I think there's like kind of one that's like lavender or something. Like there's a dog that like close to lavender furred French bulldog. You're going to spend $100,000 for this dog.
Are you kidding me? Do they smell like lavender too?
Interestingly, no, they don't. And when they do their business, maybe if you feed a dog lavender. What about cat pee? Can you make cat pee less odorous if you slip some lavender into their salmon and tuna puree?
Well, this true story, and I'm sure you're aware of this story. When I bought my pool table, when the movers started disassembling it, and they ripped off the old felt. Oh my God! A cat had peed on top of on the slate. I kid you not. It took about 10 months. No matter how much I doused it in, like all the cat pee gone, and you name your spray, I used it. And so to this day, that pocket, the corner pocket, is called Peepee Kitty to this day.
Okay, I'm going to do a bank shot
for like the
I'm
first
doing
year.
a bank shot off the 3 into Peepee Kitty. Wow.
Yeah, so
wow.
that's the running gag. It thankfully no longer smells like Peepee Kitty.
So you had to
I was like,
refelt, even
holy.
you had to refelt the table. So you took the felt off, and so they're just slate, but it still smelled like kitty?
Yeah, no, you couldn't get it out. I mean, and I literally had the guys, I'm like, look, I'm going to have to, we're going to have to clean this and everything. I'll call you when I'm ready for the felt. And then that became, because it's, it's heavy. It's like 3 pieces of slate that came from like South America or something. The table's from the early 1900s. And whatever this cat, I mean, maybe the cat had asparagus and it was doubly bad, but you could not get it, and literally took almost
our
a
animals
year.
don't like it when our attention is somewhere else, whether it's a cat or a dog. And so what happened, I'm absolutely sure, back in the teens or 20s, they're playing pool there, and they're leaned over, lining up a shot. They're not paying attention to the cat, and the cat says, you know what? You're going to pay attention to me for the next 75 years.
This table will be forever known as Peepee Kitty. You
could have just given me a little attention. You could have done the feather on the string toy thing with me, and I would not have destroyed the smell of your table. But no. You didn't. You're going to play your darn little ball game, and this is what you get.
Yeah. That's part of the reason I don't like cats, is because of that smell, but and the allergies. But I mean, with the dogs, at least the dogs, they're fairly reliable. They do their business. You don't have to worry about them pouncing on your face in the middle of the night.
They don't pounce. Their claws are not quite as sharp.
Right. So I think that's why I've always been a dog guy. But I think we've touched on some of the poop posts before, because there are irresponsible dog walkers.
Those are bad neighbors.
And
bad neighbors.
Those are
We're
bad
talking
neighbors.
about the Right Next Door podcast about dogs and their business. And I think this is something that comes up a lot. Neighbors have issues with dogs, whether they're barking, they're pooping, they're biting. And but what are we going to do? We love the dogs.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I think it's just wackadoo is when the dog owner takes the effort to clean up the poop and then just drops the bag, helter skelter, so you're walking your dog and then some jamoke has left their poop bag just laying in the parkway.
Yeah, you took the effort to bring out a bag and reach down and scoop up the poop. And so, but that's all you can be bothered to do. So
that's right. That's it. That's the extent of my surface. I'm just dropping.
I think
it
you
here
should be glad that I just picked it up. And so world, take me the rest of the way there. Take me the rest of the way to Just, oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, obviously the guy that posted that GPS pin, not a dog owner, because, I mean, that just sounded like an angry, crotchety person who, the dog probably got a GPS pin. Like you said, somebody with too many weeds in the front yard, they got a GPS pin.
But find your techie neighbor.
I don't know why.
There's a neighbor, maybe there's a street party or something like this, or you're talking over the fence about lawn care, and you find out that the neighbor that's really the nerdy computer guy, that's the one dropping the GPS pins.
That's the one going around the neighborhood.
That's the guy you snip his cable. You take out your wire cutter, snip his cable thing. Yeah.
Wah. Well, and then there's another, dog bites, never pleasant. But there was a story out of southern Florida this week, where the joggers, a lot of people, walk their dogs on the beach, and then a lot of people jog on the beach. And so I guess what's happening is these joggers, are obviously running past a walking dog. The walking dog freaks out because somebody's right behind him, and then they
dogs
lunge.
Are the shark of the sidewalk. And so it's not enough. If you're in the water, you're going to be dealing with sharks down there. But then you get up on the sidewalk, you're jogging along or walking or whatever, and sidewalk sharks, doggies, they're dangerous. And that
you can't startle a dog like that. I mean, if I'm running, I'm not passing a Rottweiler on a leash while I'm running. I'm probably going. If 20
you're able
yards,
to run,
to the side.
Do a big loop around the dog. I mean, you're running. You're a physically fit person. You can run a few yards extra to get around the dog. So it's maybe the blame is shared a little bit there, but
well, this just happened just last night. So I'm out at dark
Yeah.
watering. I'm not wearing headphones or anything. Like some lady like just walks up right behind me, didn't hear it coming, and she's like, "Excuse me."
Oh no.
I nearly like jumped the foot. I'm like, "What?"
That's terrifying. You're watering, you're not in a state, you're kind of concentrating on the beauty of your garden,
right, the growth of the plants.
The growth, the plants, the lovely
my Zen
calm,
moment disturbed,
yes.
you know. But,
excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
But I bring that up because perhaps some of this dog walking biting issue in Florida is due that like people just, they're on a path. You see that downtown. That used to happen all the time when I worked downtown. Like, I would just head down full throttle, walking briskly to my desk, and people don't want to change course.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll go shoulder to shoulder with somebody and as you're passing, and people there are some that will not leave their trajectory.
Well, and now with scooters, with the electric scooters, you have to really be careful. When I leave my place here, my home studio here, and go out to the sidewalk, there are these, for some reason, the building put these big concrete, like brick pillars right at the end of the sidewalk. So you could come off of the sidewalk onto the street sidewalk and be just bowled over by an electric scooter. So I always kind of gingerly lean my head around and look both ways before getting onto the sidewalk in front of my place. It's crazy.
It's well, I almost got run over by one of those shopping cart guys, where where it's almost like it's like a go-kart in the grocery store where they have the basket. Those things go pretty fast.
Yeah.
So I'm, minding my own business, just, going to get some tea for my mom. And around the corner comes this guy. He's like, yeah. I'm like, holy gods, man.
You're being a good son. You're being a good son, and you could be horribly injured for your trouble.
I was just like, maybe there needs to be a store driving test. They got to go around the cones or something before they just let anybody hop into these things.
Well, Jeff, our neighbors who are somewhat older, you have some issues where you're not able to walk and run quite as well, but by God, you're going to take revenge on the physically fit world by running into them on your rascal scooter.
Right. Well, that's why I didn't say. Well, this wasn't a rascal.
No,
this
but
was the ones where where they provide them at the grocery store.
Yeah, but still, that's like being bowled over by a dump truck, or no, it's miserable.
Well, and I didn't say anything for obvious reasons, but I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy could have taken out my leg with because those are heavy, heavy
I would
items.
say something. I would say, hey, listen,
Buster.
Listen, Buster.
Let's use more brake than accelerator. There is no accelerator. It's just that little hand throttle thing. But there
should be a license test. You should be able to pass your license.
I agree.
Your supermarket scooter, your supermarket cart scooter jobby.
And it wasn't even like the store was that crowded. I mean, he was just barreling around a corner. Like maybe that's why, because he didn't think anybody else was in the store. And then I'm right there. And
you might be talking. That's part of his entertainment, his fun. That's it's like young people play video games. That's his equivalent to like an entertaining.
That's right. How many store patrons?
How many store patrons can I? Bing, bing.
Was it Frogger? What was the one where you had to get the?
Yes,
I think it was a Frogger. So he's playing his version of Frogger with one of these carts.
Or Ms. Pac-Man. Waka waka waka. Ah! Yeah.
So
exactly.
That was a first, but So I don't know what if you're walking your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
The leash doesn't really and I don't know, maybe they had one of these extending leashes where it goes out like a fishing line, and Fido can go 20 feet away from you, but it didn't sound like that from the post. It sounded like people just walking their dog, runner comes up from behind, spooks the dog, and then the dog reacts, so I don't know how we're blaming the dog walkers for this.
Well, and it's not the dog's fault either. It's the owner. It's but
I just think anybody running,
I think
in
part
general,
of all thoughtfulness needs. This is something we could talk about again and again on the Right Next Door podcast. We just need to. It's the golden rule. It's do unto others as you would have your dog do unto them. And I think that's What would Jesus's dog do, Jeff? What? Yeah, and I think that's an important thing for us all to keep in mind.
That's right. He would have that dog at bay, I would think.
Our neighbors have dogs, and so that's what we had to talk about today.
Well, and upcoming, we've got an interview. I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but pursuant to our pickleball episode, We had a listener reach out who said we had so much wrong about pickleball that she'd like to come on the show and straighten a few things out. I'm like, well, that would be great. Let me find a tennis player, and then we'll have a real show. So we got the
counterpoint.
You're right.
Wow.
Crossfire, but with pickleballs and tennis balls. So I don't know
Very
if that's
soon.
next week or the week after, but within the very near short future, we will bring that to you
Very soon on the Right Next Door podcast.
You have a neighbor who's driving you crazy. Tell us about it. rightnextdoorpodcast@gmail.com. The Right Next Door podcast is an unscripted production of Eversharp Media, which takes a satirical look at local news coverage and social media. The material, views, and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the talent, guests, or the production company. Celebrity voices impersonated, including this one.